All right, guys. So today we're going to talk about opening the closed guard, right? The closed guard can be a very difficult guard to deal with. Obviously, it's the strongest one because my opponent has their legs wrapped around my body, right? Now, especially when you're just starting, I remember, at least for myself, opening the closed guard was always a nightmare because I didn't really have a system. I had an idea of what to do, but not a system. And I think as you guys gain more experience, having that step one, step two, step three, or option A, option B, option C makes a difference when you're dealing with opening and passing the closed guard. Okay, so let's start here. Um, First things first, okay, I'll turn to the side so you guys can see this, right? We have to understand what's the biggest threat, or like how does my opponent have leverage over us, right? So essentially, even though Nate's on his back, his hips are mounted on my hips, right? Closed guard's basically just the mounted position upside down, right? Which means he could use his hips to draw me in. And that's essentially the hard part to deal with, right? Is the fact that my opponent can knee pull, right? And break his posture with the addition of his upper body. So he can use his legs and his upper body, right? So whenever I'm looking to open the closed guard, the first thing I think about is actually how I'm sitting. So if you guys can take a look, I'll scoop forward a bit more. Okay, take a look at my feet because this is how most of us start, right? We sit elevated on top of our feet and ankles. Okay, so open your guard for me, Nate. So what that does, if you guys can imagine this, okay, just by sitting on my feet, okay, it naturally, right, elevates my hips and my pelvis tips forward, right? I'm exaggerating so you guys can see the motion, but like I'm at a slant right here. So if Nate knee pulls me, it's easy for me to get my posture broken, right? So what I'm going to look to do is do the opposite, right? What I want to do is uncross my feet, okay? And if you have the flexibility, the lower your butt can get to the ground, the better, okay? In addition, okay, I want to tilt my pelvis up. So you could think, point your belly button to the ceiling like this, kind of like sitting with bad posture, okay? But watch the difference, okay? If you guys try this, I remember when I first learned about this, it was like revolutionary for me. So look, I just try to sit my feet between try to sit my hips between my feet, tilt my pelvis up, try to knee pull Nate. Already significantly harder for Nate. But once again, a lot of times we catch ourselves sitting on our feet, leaning forward, boom, easy. Okay, so first thing is how we sit. Okay, now that deals with the issue of the knee pull, but as Nate just demonstrated here, when he goes to knee pull, it doesn't deal with the fact that he can sit up now. So that's when it comes to our upper body, right? How we decide to frame. Okay, so if we frame low on the hips, right? Like, like a lot of people when they start, they do the good old elbow push right here, right? Please don't ever do that. Okay, it's a waste of time, right? If I decide to use my, be a little dirty one, it's like mean, but like just not, you're not utilizing leverage, right? If I try to use my elbows, Nate grabs my elbows, okay, or anywhere on my arms and the knee pulls here, boom, right over my wrist. Easy. Okay, same thing anywhere on the hips, like anywhere below my opponent's sternum, not a great spot to use to frame. Okay, what I want to aim to do, the first grip I look for, okay, is the sternum. So I like to gather the two lapels, right? Obviously, if we're training in the gi, I'll show option what we would do in no gi as well. And I'm going to turn so the base of my hand is right in his sternum here. Okay, so basically what I'm making is a wider triangle. Okay, if you could think about a block like a very narrow triangle, okay, the more narrow the triangle is, like if my hands are here, the easier to tip over. But the more I bring my hands wider, it's a more stronger base. Okay, so it's wider at the base. So I collect both lapels. I'm sitting correctly into the ground. Okay, now I press the base of the hand here. So this is the initial posture. Nate try to knee pull me. So you guys can do a little test. If you drill this, have your partner try to knee pull hard on you here. Okay, now that's just the posture, right? Now once we have this established, okay, which take your time in doing it when you're rolling, like take your time to sit back, gather those lapels and get here. There's no rush. Okay, once I've gathered all this, now I can begin creating the space to stand up. Okay, now watch, this is the other critical detail here. Okay, so whatever side I'm framing on Nate's sternum, I want to slide that knee up as I open the other leg. So I want to create an L with my legs. So I'm going to put my hand on Nate's hip here and watch how I slide, okay? I lean, okay, I'm going to open this leg and then slide the other leg up. Notice how that already elongated Nate's hips and it created a gap there. Okay, I'm going to show it from this angle. Okay, so I'm sitting back. Okay, hand on the hip. Okay, so look, I lean, I open this leg, and then I slide the other knee up. Okay, right here. So without a partner, just so you guys can see my legs. Okay, I'm sitting here. Okay, hand on the hip, lean, open, and then slide that knee up so I create an L. Okay, so rotate here. Okay, so I'm sitting back, framing the hip, framing the sternum. Okay, lean, open, slide. Okay, now I've stretched this side of my partner's body. Okay, now is when we begin to step up. So what I'm going to use is a pivoting motion. I'm going to press into the sternum, press into the sternum, press into the hip, and pivot up to my foot. Okay, now once I've pivoted up, we'll scoot a little bit more here. Once I've pivoted to this first foot, I can't just stand up here because like if I stand up like this, he's just going to knee pull me back down. Okay, so when I pivot, I need to step that leg up by his hip, one right here. Okay, then second, I step the second leg, two here. Now notice I'm going to use my knees and pinch, so I'm shelving Nate's hips. Okay, now from here, I'm going to reach back. I'm going to push down on the knee. Okay, now once I feel it open, right away, I'm going to staple here, and then we could start forcing the half guard. Okay, so once again from this angle, step one, sit back, hands here. Nate's trying to knee pull, right? Take my time, establish that grip. Okay, frame on the hip, lean, open, slide. Okay, strong grip, so press my neck back, strong posture. Okay, I'm going to pivot up, one, step, step. Okay, now whenever I show this, I get two main questions. The first question is, okay, what happens when you get here and they go for the double ankle sweep, right? Am I susceptible to the double ankle sweep? My answer to that is yes, unless your body is in the right position. So take a look, okay, at where my head is here. So if I step up, pinch my knees, and my head is below my opponent's head level, I am susceptible for the double ankle sweep. Go ahead. Boom. Here. Okay? But if I'm standing up and I keep my head at Nate's head level or higher, try to double ankle sweep, he can't double ankle sweep. So the moment my head slides back below their head, susceptible, okay? But if I'm leaning over, okay, I could over-exaggerate here, but look, he's not going to sweep me, right? So I keep my head over the head level here, turn, okay, and then open, okay? Now the second question is, okay, I'm here, I have the knees pinched, and I'm pushing, and I can't open the guard, like Nate's bridging his hip. So if Nate engages his hip, and I'm like, I can't push the knee, I have to re-stagger my stance. So let's take a look at this angle here. Okay, I'm up, Nate's bridging his hip. Okay, I'm gonna stagger one leg forward and bring that other leg back. And then watch how I pivot this knee, almost like I'm gonna throw a football or anything here. Look, watch how I pivot, okay, and that opens the leg here to re-staple. Okay, I'll show it from this way again. Okay, so I'm here. Okay, sit back, frame, open, slide, press, pivot, step, step, pinch. Nate's bridging his hips, so it's making it hard for me to push his knees off. So look, step that same side that I'm framing, step that leg up, step the other leg back. Notice how we get that side to elongate again. And then look, pivot my knee here. Okay, now you guys can finish this a lot of different ways. You could force the half guard, okay, or you can use your hips start leg dragging. Okay, you could do a lot of different options from there. Okay, let's turn back again, Nate. So before I show the no gi option, or you could even use this in the gi, okay? There's also another big concern that comes from standing up the way that I'm showing you guys right now. And this is a little bit more of an advanced issue. Okay, I'll turn this way real quick. So the other issue, again, probably more relatable for advanced students, is as soon as you, okay, start stepping up, my partner underhooks my leg here. Okay, so now, yeah, although this would be, yeah, it's like a valid issue to be aware about. Okay, if Nate underhooks my leg, he's probably looking to open his guard. Like if I have my hands here, he's gonna look to attack like an omoplata on this side. Okay. He's gonna look to attack my arm on this side, or he's gonna release the grips and go for like a K guard or something in the backside here. Okay, so again, not the biggest concern as long as I know where to chain. Okay, so not the biggest concern as long as I know what technique to chain to. So if Nate underhooks, as soon as he underhooks my leg, okay, I'm gonna drop my knee towards his neck. Look at how that's already hard for Nate to keep the guard closed here. Okay, now from here, I'm gonna look to bridge my hip and I start underhooking the leg here, and we can end up in a position to either leg drag, okay, or like if Nate keeps inverting here, okay, you can almost stack them into like something like a cradle pass, okay, over the top. Again, this video, we're just focusing on opening the closed guard, right? But because that's an option where they voluntarily open to hook your leg, I want you guys to see where you could connect it to. So I'll show that one more time. So we'll address the common issues here. I open here, boom, pivot. First one is he bridges his hips, or he's trying to double ankle sweep, sorry. Okay, so I just lean forward. Second one is he bridges his hips. I pivot, open. The third one is he underhooks my leg. Okay, if he underhooks the leg, again, we're just driving the knee right over the shoulder here. Okay, the only threat here is Nate's gonna elevate his hips. But if he does that, look, I just use my hips to start clearing the leg, and this can end up into passing opportunities for you. Okay, so that's the main guard open. I'm going to show you guys one other way to open the guard. Okay, now these two approaches I would consider fundamental. Okay, the second one is also fundamental. I would say I use this, the second option, more in a no gi setting, but I still use it in the gi as well. You can use it the same way. Okay, so now let's rotate here. Let's say I'm doing everything correct. Okay, I'm sitting back here. I'm trying to gather these lapels, but Nate's doing a great job, okay, trying to drag this lead arm, right? If you guys didn't see our past closed guard video, check it out, the arm drag series. Let's just say Nate's really good at addressing this hand, right? And I can't just establish this frame. So what I'll look to do, if I can't establish the sternum frame, okay, is I'll bring my elbows low to the side, and I'm gonna try to make grips into Nate's armpits or into the bicep, okay? And there's various ways you can do it. I know some people that like to grab that cloth and use their knuckles. I know people that like to loosen up the lapels and then drive their fists into the armpits here. The way that I prefer, and the easiest way to me, because it translates to no-gi, is I just go the base of my hand, just like how I frame on Nate's sternum, the base of my hand here on the inside of the armpits, and then I go like tabletop position. So I shift my weight forward here, and then I'm gonna do that same pivot. Look, pivot one, step, step here, okay? Now from here, how I grip to open the guard varies depending on gi or no gi. If it's the gi, okay, I lean onto one side and I use the other hand to punch the collar across the neck. That same side is now gonna step up, and then I'm gonna go through that same pivoting motion here with my knee. Look at how I pivot my foot here. So I'm putting pressure down on the collar here, and then again, you can hip out, leg drag, you can knee staple, kind of up to you on how you want to pass. Okay, the second variation, if I don't want to grab the collar or if I can't grab the collar, this is what I would do in no-gi especially. So same thing, I'm trying to get here, Nate's disrupting the frames. I go low, tabletop to get the weight down on my hands so you can't just easily pummel out. Pivot, step, step. Okay, head level is the same thing. Head level at his or a little bit higher. Okay, now instead of going to the collar, I'm going to go to the far shoulder. Okay, now make sure when you guys do this, you go at the base of the shoulder, not towards the arm, because the arm will move. He slides up and down, that's not stable. But where his arm connects to his chest, that's the base that I want. Okay, now I do the same thing. Step my leg up, stagger the other one back. Okay, and I'm leaning all the weight onto my hand here. Now I pivot, and now the guard's open again to pass. Okay, so those are the two ways that I like to approach opening the closed guard. I would say those are the fundamental ways that you should approach. Be sure to stay tuned. We'll drop another video showing some more creative, advanced ways we can open and pass the closed guard. All right, thanks for tuning in.